the next one obviously came to me by way of recommendation of Jeff, and I tried it at his house. But Heaven and Hill Bottle and Bond. This is a 7-year old product, so it's a few years younger than the McKenna that we tried. Um, but Heaven Hill makes a phenomenal product, and they make a lot of different products. Um, they make your Elijah Craig's, they make your Larcenies, and several others. As do a lot of the distilleries make several different brands these days. But Heaven Hills is one that I keep on the shelf. Is that your clean glass?
Mm-hmm.
We were talking about this earlier today, George and I were, and how fond we were of it.
I'm a Heaven Hill fan.
Okay. So it's really oaky for me.
It's 100 proof also.
Has a little bit of sweetness to it.
It's a little bit darker than some of the other expressions we've done so far.
True.
Just a tad.
I'll say that on the nose, it's a little bit more savory. We've had a couple that were kind of sweet.
It's still a thin viscosity.
It's light on the nose.
Oh, it's light on the nose and sweet. And again, the last few pours that we've had, compared to the Evan Williams, and again, this is not a slam on Evan Williams, but you don't pick up that alcohol scent quite as much. It doesn't violate your nose with a burn that is objectionable. You're picking up more on the fruit scents and other components. So that's nice. Agreed. Very nice on the nose. I got to admit, again, brutally honest, that I read all the reviews, but I tend to kind of lightly read over the nose part, because although I can appreciate a good nose, just like this, I mostly appreciate the palate and the finish and what's going on with the complexity and things like that. So for me, I can appreciate the nose, and it's there and it's important. It's part of it. Who wants to smell something that is objectionable and then put it in their mouth? So it's a part of the experience. And it's also interesting how the nose compares to the sip. Not always do you get the same components that you're expecting that the nose sets you up for.
Agreed. Yeah. Man, that's really nice, Jeff.
That's even smoother than the Taylor at this point.
And the sweetness is just hanging around, like it's just sweet.
Yeah, I'm pulling honey too.
I think I
a touch of honey.
As you let it sit, it becomes more, I think, honey. Like, wow.
Wow,
man,
that's a good pour.
Shame on me for not having drank more of that bottle. That one's gonna move up on the shelf, I think.
Yeah.
How easily you forget when you go hunting all these bottles, right?
And that's half the fun. That bottle typically sells for right around 50 MSRP.
That's right.
In Alabama. And I've seen it a little bit less, and I've seen it more. But.
Yeah, absolutely seen it more. But yeah, if you find it for high 40s, low 50s, you're doing good, I think. And I think that needs to be a staple. I highly recommend it. There may be a handful of people that don't like it, but
it has been on the allocated list in Alabama, but also recently they brought it into Costco.
They did. I saw that. I was thankful to see that.
Yeah. So it's coming into the market a lot more. That's a good pour. You'll like it. And that's fun when you get to try things side by side. It really is.
It is. And that's kind of how our sharing goes with the guys, right? So we may have I don't know, 20, 30 bottles laid out, and we're doing light pours and trying them. And that's where you learn what you like, what you don't like. And you leave that usually saying, you know what, I thought I wanted that bottle. I'm not buying it. Or I'm definitely going to get that bottle. I didn't even know it existed, kind of thing. So we got a few guys in the group that bring some really exquisite bottles that I wouldn't have known about otherwise. So.
And I'd encourage you, that's the fun, the community of whiskey. When you get together with other guys and other people and women, where you're able to open up multiple bottles and try them side by side, you're not only not having to buy everything to find out if you like it or not, but you're enjoying the experience of tasting together and building on the knowledge and experience of other people. So again, that's what we're about. That's what we're trying to do with you. Hope that you participate by giving us comments back and let us know what you think. And feel free to disagree. We're not going to be hurt by that.
100%.
We totally respect the fact that the whiskey experience is an individual experience. It's fun when you find commonality in experience and you share it. It's fun to be able to figure out why you do. And that's why we do this. So
agreed. So 1792, I'm just going to go ahead and be honest with you. I started collecting them because the bottle's cool. It was one of those. The first one that I had was this bottled in bond, and the next one I had was a small batch. Probably should have had them in the opposite direction, but since then I've started collecting every one that they make because I think the bottle looks cool. I mean, I just think that's a great presentation. It's classy. This particular one is a store pick from Discount Liquor, but I really respect what 1792 does. I think they stay pretty consistent across the board for what I've
good
tried.
quality product. Most of the products in the 1792 line I've enjoyed. Some bottles better than others. Again, one of the things you hear Brandon talking about is store picks. Store picks is where somebody from a store or from a franchise have gone out to the distillery, or the distillery has sent them specific samples from specific barrels, and they've chosen a specific barrel, just like if you were to buy a barrel, and they bottled it that way and sold it as something that they picked as the better of the many samples that they tried from that particular expression and distillery. So
you can kind of trust that it may be just a little better than the average bottle because somebody has put a nose in it.
Somebody's compared it to the same bottles from the same distilleries and said, this is the best one.
That's right.
So you may not agree on that particular one, but one of the clues when you're whiskey shopping is if there's a store pick, it's a good bet that it's maybe one of the better bottles of that particular whiskey.
True. And speaking of barrel picks, that's something that we're interested in getting into. So if you guys, if y'all have segues on that, we're working on a few. But if you guys have segues on that, we're interested in getting involved in that. So just let us know.
Another sweet on the nose, another smooth on the nose. No ethanol. Like that.
It's sweet, it's fruity. I can't tell you what fruit I'm picking up, but it's fruity.
And the thing about 1792 to me is just, I don't know if it's the corn or the wheat that they use, but it's just a sweeter expression of whiskey in general. And they've got many different varieties that they bottle. This one's a store pick, as you see.
I think I'm picking up like grape, or I think that's it. It's just sweet, fruity.
To me, one of the more interesting expressions that people talk about when they're trying to describe the flavors they're pulling is grapico.
Yes. This is certainly grape to me, but man, it has that buttery, like coat your tongue, like. I mean, that's a phenomenal.
It is
bottle.
buttery.
I love that.
I just gotta say, brutally honest, 1792 doesn't tend to disappoint me.
Agreed.
It's been one that every time I sip on it, I feel like that's a good whiskey. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, that's.
And you're probably going to see us do a feature ahead of us of the 1792 product lines, because there are
Absolutely.
several, and they're different.
I think we're getting close to having
But
the
they're
whole
good.
lineup. We're working on it. So once we get that lineup, I think we're close. I'd like to do that. Just run through and see what 1792 we like best. And I'm really eager to try the sweet wheat.
Me too.
Man, that's good. Wow, that's good.
Bottled in bond is good, and small batch.
Agreed.
Definitely.
So on this last one, I'm going to be 100% honest with you guys. I'm definitely a homie. So I went to high school with Seth Detling, the owner of Detling Distillery. And if I'm being honest, when I bought his first product, which was a 2-year product, I was like, Seth, I don't know. I don't know. And then I tried his 53-month cash strength, and it totally knocked my socks off. And I was like, it's just me. It's just me, because I'm a fan of Seth, right? So I started sharing it with the guys like we were talking about. And across the board, I haven't had one person in our group come back and say, I'm not so sure about that deadly. Everybody has said, man, I'll buy that. I've been seeing it. I didn't know if I wanted to pay the price for it. I'll pick that up. So then the next one that came out was this bottled in bond. And I picked it up. And while I like the 53-month probably the absolute best, this is right there with it. I mean, if it's a 10, this is a 9.8. Like, I really like this product. But he also has 6-year products out, and he's going to a full line of 6-year product. And I'm probably most excited about the fact that he's going rye. So he has a rye that's coming out. I have learned that I really appreciate ryes. And, in the beginning, I heard people talk about rye, and I was scared about it. Man, you don't want to drink that. It's going to hit you in the face. It's strong. But man, there are some ryes that I really like. The Michter's, the Angel's Envy rye. I mean, there again, the Hemingway is really good. And then obviously that Buzzer Cruise and the Redwood. The Redwood Empire is very good.
Yeah.
And they had some
Sagamore. I need to bring you the Sagamore double oaked. You'll love it.
Okay. But yeah, I tend to say that I am a rye guy. But there again, my belief is that there's probably fewer great ryes out there than there are, statistically speaking. There's a lower percentage of ryes out there that you're going to be like, wow. But the ones that are good, man, they knock some of these bourbons out of the park with their complexity and their butteriness. But you've got to be wanting that spice. I tend to think of it like a hot sauce. If you like hot sauce, man, that flavor of that hot sauce is good. It's hot, it burns, but that flavor is good. It's kind of where I am with some of the ryes.
Sure. And if you remember, since you were talking about our introduction to Detling, you bought the initial Detling offerings and you shared them. Correct. And when we did that, before he really had gotten much time into the craft, we kind of went, not too impressed.
Exactly where we were.
Wasn't great.
That's right.
The early offerings, they weren't bad, but they weren't good either.
They
weren't special.
They were reminiscent of his beer in high school. I remember he and a buddy of mine, which works with him now, making beer at his mom's house and say, man, you need to try this. And it was cloudy, and it was their first. They never, they didn't know. And then he moved on and he made rum for a little bit, and he got out of that almost immediately. And he'll tell you now, he's got a barrel of his first product still in the rick house. And he's like, the Angels will get every bit of it, and they're getting the short end of the stick because he's like, it wasn't great. But man, everything that he's put out since then has been wonderful. Like, I've really enjoyed it.
So just like us, as time has gone on, he's gotten better.
Absolutely,
he's figured some things out, and he's gotten better. So gotta respect that. And you're going to hear us say, even though Brandon knows who Seth is, at the same time, he was able to say, didn't like the first stuff, and the stuff now, wow, it's really getting good.
He's really going up a level. Like he's leveled up. I'm excited to see where he's going for sure. And such a small distillery, such a small operation. It's very simple. But man, he's just putting out good juice.
And what we know about Seth decided that he isn't going to be the big corporate guy. He's decided that he's about the quality of the whiskey that he's putting out.
Yeah.
And he's going to stay about that. He's determined. So if you want something from a distillery, from a guy who decided that he wants to make the best possible whiskey experience that he can for the people that enjoy his product, that is the place to consider.
It is.
He's making progress towards that goal.
And back to the barrel picks that we were talking about, I do believe that Seth will be the first barrel pick we get. We're trying to get on his 2025 list for March. So hopefully we can get in there with him and get a barrel. I'd love to get a barrel of that rye. I don't know if it'll be ready yet. I think we're about a year out.
So. And what was he saying about who was interested in the quality of the product and the butts he was kicking in terms of the quality of the products that are coming up? Was it the rye?
His rye? It was the rye. He definitely said that, I promise you, because I told him, I said, I think I consider myself to be a rye guy, Seth, and I think I really like Michter's. I like the barrel strength Michter's. I like the Hemingways. I love Angel's Envy. He's like, Brandon, I'm not one to boast. He said, but I promise you, he's like, my rye at the current age, which is 3 years, is already right there with him, if not better. He's like, we're gonna knock it out of the park. So definitely not a knock. That is because Michter's is our absolute favorite. Angel's Envy is a favorite.
Yeah.
Hemingway is, you can't deny them. They won the 23 award. So, but for him to be able to say that he feels he's right there with them, and he's not the guy that would say that if he wasn't, has me excited about his products.
This is delicious. This is really, really good. It's smooth. It's flavorful.
So smooth.
This is good product. He's definitely doing what he set out to do. This is cool.
And I'm tending to think that, and I could be wrong, but I think that malted stuff is something that I'm favorable of. And he's saying that most of his stuff is only 3% malted, but that, the math's a little off because, Alabama heat, his rick houses get super hot. But I'm thinking the amount of malted grain that he has in his is what I'm liking. But it's sweet, it's buttery, like coats the tongues, and I just really, really enjoy it.
Beautiful dark mahogany color.
Man,
it's a light.
It's sweet. I pick
viscosity.
Up some tobacco.
But this is delicious, and we didn't set these in any particular order
at all. No, I just lined them on the table. Matter of fact, I had this one in front of you earlier, and I noticed it was blocking the camera view to your face. It's like, man, we should put that in the middle. So that's the only reason E.H. Taylor fell in the middle.
Wow, that's great.
That is
really good.
Very good.
If you're looking for one that's not as much on the radar, but is definitely worth the investment, look up. Definitely.
I know for sure you can get them in Alabama, Louisiana,
that's Bourbon.
And I know you can get them some on the secondary as well. But Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, for sure you can pick them up. Some in Florida as well. So guys, I hope you guys found some value in what we did today, and that you guys feel comfortable sharing your thoughts in the comment section. If there's a particular subject that you guys would like covered in the future, I hope that you guys will visit us and send that to brutallyhonestbourbon@gmail.com. And be sure to click and follow the page for insight on some of the upcoming episodes that we're going to do. You can also find us on Facebook and Instagram. And if you did find this information helpful, share it with others, because what we're looking for is people that want to come into the organization or group and teach us, right? So anyway, you guys stay up, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.